Tamika Jones steered her rattling delivery van through the neon-lit streets of Dallas, the weight of a dozen packages pressing against her aching shoulders. At 27, her slim frame moved with the rhythm of a job she'd mastered, loading, driving, delivering for SwiftLine Logistics. Tonight, February 25, 2025, was another grueling shift. Her uniform, damp with sweat from a 12-hour day, turned 15 by Derek Walsh, the regional manager. "Move faster, Jones," he'd barked over the radio, his voice a constant thorn. At the warehouse, he'd cut her overtime pay again, smirking as workers averted their eyes. To them, she was just the delivery girl, a nobody in a sea of trucks and boxes. But tonight, a letter waited in her apartment, a secret that would shift the gears of her life. The night air stung as Tamika unlocked her small apartment in South Dallas, the hum of traffic a familiar drone. She dropped her keys on the table, a chipped relic from her childhood, when an envelope caught her eye. No stamp, just her name in shaky ink. Curiosity beat exhaustion as she tore it open. Inside were 2 sheets, a legal document, dense with text and a handwritten note. Her breath hitched as she read, "Tamika, my tough one, SwiftLine's yours now. Grandpa Earl Jones, her reclusive grandfather who'd died last month, had left her something." The document was his will, naming Tamika sole heir to SwiftLine Logistics. She sank onto a chair, hands trembling. This wasn't just a job, it was her empire. Sleep dodged Tamika as the will lay open beside her, its words a lifeline in the dark. Grandpa Earl had been a shadow in her life, a gruff man who'd built SwiftLine from a single truck, visiting her with tales of hard work. "You've got my grit," he'd say, ruffling her hair. She'd grown up hauling boxes for pocket money, learning routes from his maps, but never knew his full wealth. He'd kept it quiet, testing her through years of silence, watching her toil at SwiftLine as a courier. Now, with his death, he'd handed her his legacy. She remembered Derek's latest cut, "No overtime for you, Jones," and anger flared. She clutched the will, resolve hardening. Tomorrow she'd shift the load. Morning sun glinted off Dallas's sprawl as Tamika prepared for work. She kept her uniform, the will tucked in her backpack. At SwiftLine, the warehouse buzzed with Derek's tyranny. He yelled at her for a late drop, his suit crisp against her faded gear. "Stick to grunting, Jones," he sneered, workers wincing. Tamika held her tongue, her plan forming. She'd heard of a company-wide meeting tonight, her chance. She moved through her route, dodging traffic and hefting boxes, but her mind raced. Each of Derek's cuts fueled her fire. As dusk fell, she paused at a gas station, splashing water on her face. "For you, Grandpa," she whispered. It was time to deliver her truth. The meeting convened in SwiftLine's cluttered break room, a space of battered tables and logistics maps. Derek stood at the front, his tie loose, ranting about quotas to a tired crew. 10 drivers, 5 loaders, a dozen clerks. "No slackers here," he barked, smirking at their nods. Tamika slipped in, unnoticed, her backpack slung over her shoulder. She watched Derek mock her from afar, waving a clipboard like a taunt. The room hummed with his plans to squeeze more from less, oblivious to her presence. As he wrapped up, she stepped forward, her voice cutting through. "Hold up." Heads turned, confusion shifting to smirks. Derek grinned. "What's this, Jones? Late again?" Tamika stood firm, pulling the will from her backpack with steady hands. She unfolded it slowly, placing it on a table. "Read this," she said, her tone ironclad. Derek snatched it, his smirk fading as he scanned the text. Silence fell, broken only by the hum of trucks outside. "This says you own SwiftLine," he choked, face whitening. "Earl Jones's granddaughter?" Tamika nodded. "His only heir." "It's mine now." Gasps rippled. Some knew Earl, a legend in shipping. Derek laughed, a brittle edge to it. "You? A grunt? This is a joke." Tamika crossed her arms. "Call your boss. It's real." Phones emerged, whispers escalating as the truth hit. She'd flipped their fleet. Panic swept the room as calls flew to HQ. Derek's bravado cracked, his suit sagging against Tamika's calm. A lawyer, Miss Carter, arrived swiftly, her briefcase snapping open. She reviewed the will, then Earl's records, trusts, signatures, all tied to Tamika. It's legitimate, Carter said, handing over proof. Miss Jones owns SwiftLine. Derek's jaw dropped, the crew reeling. Tamika stepped to the table's center, her voice rising. Derek Walsh, you're fired. Get out. He sputtered, red-faced, but she cut him off. You've cut our pay, worked us to death. No more. Workers cheered, some filming, as Derek grabbed his coat and stormed out. You'll sink this company, he yelled, but Tamika just smiled. With Derek gone, Tamika faced the stunned crew. This isn't about breaking backs, she said. It's about fairness for us. She outlined her vision: fair wages, shorter shifts, a SwiftLine that valued its drivers. Workers who'd stayed clapped, some filming as Derek's exit hit Twitter. #delivery, Queen trending fast. Clients lingered outside, drawn by the buzz, and Tamika waved them in. Watch us roll, she told them, handing Carter the will to secure her claim. She stayed late, sketching plans, new vans, better brakes. The crew rallied, a team reborn. She wasn't just their boss, she was their wheel. Days later, SwiftLine thrummed with change. Tamika fired 2 managers tied to Derek's cuts, promoting drivers she'd trained, grinders like her. She hung Earl's photo in the break room, a nod to his grit. The warehouse rolled out raises, overtime restored, trucks hummed with renewed energy. Twitter buzzed with #SwiftReborn, clips of her takeover going viral. Reporters swarmed, but Tamika kept it real. This is for the road warriors. She walked the lot, checking rigs, her presence a lift to those she'd once hauled with. The empire she'd inherited now roared, a testament to what hustle could build. Weeks later, Tamika stood by her office window, Dallas's skyline twinkling beyond. The warehouse pulsed with life, diverse voices joking, trucks rolling out on time, a rhythm Derek never allowed. She'd kept Earl's dream alive, turning SwiftLine into a force for its workers. Derek had called, begging for a job, blacklisted after his fall, but Tamika hung up. She didn't need him. From a girl hauling boxes to the queen of SwiftLine, she'd proven her worth. As she traced Earl's name on the photo, Tamika smiled. The shipping world had dismissed her, but now they followed her lead. Her company, her rules, her legacy.